morning, Bardstown and Nelson County, and welcome to Bradford and Brooks. Jim Brooks and Margie Bradford with you on this rather chilly, overcast morning in beautiful downtown Bardstown. Good morning, Margie.
Good morning, Jim.
Well, I'll tell you, I came outside this morning without a jacket. I've gotten so accustomed to these moderate temperatures. I thought, well, I won't need a jacket, and then I took a step outside and thought, well, if I had more time, I'd go hunt up a jacket. But I'll just be a little chilly this morning.
Well, at least it's a welcome diversion from me staying in my house for 2 weeks.
Right, and I, and it's not often, but sometimes I'm reminded how much I enjoy having a heated seat in my car. I mean, that's a first world problem, of course, but
we have pampered fannies.
And at least they're warm.
I'm not arguing with you. I made sure that the last car I had heated seats. So.
Well, it's funny. Whenever my kids are during the winter, if they're going to ride with me, they always request, can you turn the heater on the seat? I'm like, well, I've got a heater in the car, but they like the luxury, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
Heated seats. I don't know. I've always said that the more luxury items you have in a car, the more problems you're going to have down the road. Something's going to break, and you're going to miss your heated seat. But so far, so good. I don't have a chance to use it that often. All right, enough from about automotive technology and luxury. Margie and I have very special guests with us, and we're really, really happy to have them. Are you going to make the introduction?
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm really pleased to have with us today Lynette Cox, who is the Director of Marketing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Marketing and Communications.
That's correct.
Of Bernheim Forest, and Zach Bramble, who I'm just going to say in charge of the children's programs.
Well, the Placo System coordinator.
Well, I'll leave it to you tonight to say what Placo is.
We got all kinds of kids programs, and my department is the play department.
Oh well, that sounds wonderful. Yeah. So, Lynette, start out and talk to us about what Bernheim Forest is. I know you just. In as few words.
Absolutely.
Because you could talk the whole program about that.
Absolutely. So. Well, Bernheim Forest is a 16,000 acre nature preserve park, and we have a 600 acre arboretum. So there are so many things to do at Bernheim. There's 16,000 acres and a million things to do. Some of those are just getting out and exploring nature on some of our trails in our forest. Kids coming out to play in our Placo system. We have programs and events that go on at Bernheim. There's so much to say about Bernheim.
Well, I heard that they recently had a very great honor.
Yes, we are LAND Arts area received a $30,000 grant from the National Endowment for the Arts. So that was a huge lift for our arts program to be recognized in that manner. And Bernheim also was voted one of the top 25 places to go in the South by Southern Living Magazine.
Woo! Ooh, that's right. That's a far cry from the amenities we enjoyed 50 years ago. It was still a wonderful place to go then and take your children, and it's even more so now.
Some of those amenities are still around. Some of the bathrooms. Yeah.
Well, those are certainly welcome places for
No, I mean some of the old ones. If you want to revisit what it was like, they're there too. We've got new ones as well.
Good.
In today's day and time, I think Bernheim is such a jewel right in our backyard, and almost one of our best kept secrets for some people. And especially in my mind, of course, being a parent of a couple of kids, the importance of sharing such a resource with kids and making them appreciate that there's more to the world than just concrete and steel. and paved roads.
Absolutely. When I was raising my own children, we always made a point to get them out on adventures. We called them adventures, and we'd, pick a place to go that day, and we'd go to a park, and we'd take them on a trail and let them splash in the creek. There's just so much good in nature. It's really good for your emotional well-being to get out and explore. We wanted to make sure we expose that to our children as well.
Well, talk to us about this art in nature thing.
Well, art has been an important part of Bernheim since we were founded in 1929. Part of Bernheim's vision was, a place where art could inspire people and help them connect with nature. So there is art all throughout Bernheim. And we recently, last fall, we opened our LAND area, which has 10 large-scale installations that help us connect with, reflect on our connection with nature and our impact on the environment as well.
Well, you also had an art project before that where you had the big...
The giants?
The giants.
Yes,
I didn't know what to call it.
The forest giants in a giant forest were installed in 2019.
And you still have them.
They are still with us. They get regular manicures and pedicures and a little bit of orthopedic surgery sometimes. But we still have them with us, and we're hoping they'll be with us a little while longer. But they are, made of wood and out in nature, so we don't know how long they'll be with us, but they're with us right now, and we're taking good care of them. We're hoping they'll hang on a little longer.
They're getting restless, though. They'll walk away eventually. Yeah,
but they've been a great way to get kids out.
Well, they're such a neat idea. Yeah, who was the artist on that?
Thomas Dambo is the artist for the Forest Giants in a Giant Forest, and he is a Danish artist, and he has this whole troll trail, which is kind of a rage almost in some areas. There's a Facebook group for Thomas Dambo trolls, and people plan their vacations visiting trolls across the country. I think the closest other trolls to here are in Dayton, Ohio. And then the Memphis Botanical Garden is just now opening like a temporary exhibit. So trolls it's fun.
We were lucky to get Thomas' early career too, sort of at the beginning of his troll phase.
Right.
Yeah, we have three of our forest giants.
I've seen them in the paper. I haven't been there.
Well, you need to come out, March.
I do need to come out.
I'll be glad to give you a private tour.
Okay, all right. That sounds great. Well, talk to us about all of the different programs that you have. I mean, I know you're talking about the art, you're talking about, I know you have trails, so maybe talk about that.
Yeah, we have 40 miles of trails at Bernheim. The shortest being like a 1/10 of a mile, our canopy tree walk. It's 75 feet above the forest floor, and it's kind of a little bridge that you walk out, and it kind of puts you in the top of the trees and gives you a really good view.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Of the canopy of the trees.
Man, how do you get up there, though?
Oh, parking is really close to the canopy tree walk, and the path is flat, so you just kind of walk out on the platform. And then we have a large 15-mile trail and everything in between, from a mile trail to a mile and a half to 5 miles, and then up to our Millennium Trail. So it's fun to explore.
Well, I'm looking at my cheat sheet here, and it says the trails, canopy tree walk, the Forest Giants trails, the Lake Nevin Loop.
Yes, the Lake Nevin Loop is great. It's nice and flat, and then you can walk around the lake and see the animals in the water. You can see where the beavers have been building their dam over by the Tupelo swamp area that we have, Tupelo Cypress Tupelo swamp area, and then that'll take you on around into Acre, which is an area where we had an artist in residence come in, Ann Peabody, and she marked out what an acre of land would look like, and we planted 81 Merlot trees around the outside, which connects to the story of how Bernheim was founded and how the land had been logged heavily before it was purchased by Mr. Bernheim.
It's neat. I didn't realize you'd had an artist in residence program for 45 years.
Yes, we are in our 45th year.
I did not know that either.
Yes, so artists from around the world have come to Bernheim to stay on the property, and then they are inspired, and they make a piece of art, and sometimes they leave that art behind for us to enjoy.
That's wonderful.
Well, going back to my own childhood, my observance now is that the mission, Bernheim has evolved its mission through the years. Instead of being so much a recreational area, but also now it's a huge education component and opportunity to experience real nature. And it's not often we have an opportunity to see land in nature up close in the raw, if you will. It's it managed, but yet how many of us get to one thing that struck me years ago when I would visit my son at the Boy Scout camp was just once you're out there, it's like it's like going back in time, because you're seeing how the hills and hollows of Kentucky looked 150 years ago.
Absolutely.
And it's really, it really kind of takes you back a little bit, because you think, this is what it looked like. When our forefathers tried to establish a farm or a settlement there.
Yeah, Bernheim is definitely a welcoming place for everyone, and it's a good place to connect with nature. That's our mission, is connecting people with nature. So it's a good place to come out and do that and reflect on things and just listen to the birds chirping and to see the turtles in the pond. It just brings me so much peace to be there at Bernheim.
Well, talk to us about about the programs for the children.
We have lots for kids. We have a awesome education department where we can host field trips, so schools or groups can come to us. We also go into schools and do outreach work, and that's our education department. Like I said, my department's the Children at Play Network, and so our centerpiece is a 17-acre natural play space, which is open whenever Bernheim is open, so families and kids can come play. There's a spectrum of play on the playground. The word playcosystem is made up. It's a play on the word ecosystem. But it starts with more familiar sort of nature-based play, like you might see logs to climb on and rocks to climb up, and a sand pit and little different areas. And then as you progress deeper into it, it gets more adventurous and more wild until the last zone, which is the adventure play zone, is just woods. The goal being to draw kids up into the woods, like Jim was saying. We have less and less exposure to true wild nature, and Bernheim is special because it's a place where you can get that, and we want people to feel comfortable in it, because I bet if we were all to tell a story of our childhood from a time when we played, and like one of our favorite places or one of our favorite things to do, or a time we felt free, like it would be probably in nature, probably away from adults. We'd be deciding as kids what we were doing. We'd be making the rules. And over time, we've shrunken kids' territory in many ways. And we want to give, well, let me speak for myself. I want to give kids the kind of play experiences that I had when I was a kid. So that's our goal.
Well, many, 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 many years ago, when I was
Tell us about it.
my first and second grade was spent in a 2-room schoolhouse in rural Estill County, and I loved it. Our teacher would take us into the woods, which was right behind our house, behind the building, and she would identify the different plants. We could pick them up and smell them. This is sassafras, this is so-and-so, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Absolutely. We have a really good nature-based education team and an excellent volunteer naturalist program at Bernheim, and they put on a lot of our programs that we have for kids. And we have Eco Kids Discovery Days, where we have stations twice a month on a Saturday where kids can come out and talk to our naturalist, and maybe they get to touch Corny the corn snake, or learn about that, or maybe they learn about beavers at a different section, or talk about plants.
Well, I mean, when at a time when most yards are you just have less than an acre, and you don't have really anything on there but trees and a few flowers and things like that. It would give children an opportunity to kind of get a little bit of what I had when I went to school. When I went to school every day, and
Absolutely,
and loved, being close to nature.
Absolutely, and that's what our naturalists and
that was my playground.
Right, absolutely.
Endlessly, you could be endlessly entertained.
Oh yeah,
And
there's
use your imagination.
pretty rocks, and all the fossils and things that you find.
Absolutely.
And we sitting around here, like in our hearts, know the value of that kind of play. But now we've documented it, with study and science. And when kids are playing, and when they're playing in nature, there's all sorts of benefits and things going on, and brain building, and building executive function skills, and all kinds of stuff. The scientists can talk better about it than me, but the work of play is really important.
And I understand you have an outreach program to schools for educational purposes. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, Mr. Dan's in charge of that, Dan Pascucci, and his contact info is on the website. In fact, all this info is on the website. If you go to bernheim.org, Mr. Dan's contact will be there if you're a school group and want to come out, or want the education department to come to you. All the events we're talking about are listed on the calendar there on the website.
Yeah, so we have the Bullitt County Math and Science Group called BAMS, and they come out and help us with projects at Bernheim, and then they present their projects at the end of the year, do a presentation on it. We also have a partnership with Nelson County Schools called the Nelson County Ag Collab, and our horticulture team manages that. They come out once a week and do projects at Bernheim as well.
The education component, I think, is really and I in my generation, we didn't really get that sort of education. I mean, we knew where Bernheim was, we all loved it, but the programs weren't so developed, or at least I wasn't. My school wasn't aware of it. Of course, I'm quite a few years old, but anyway, I think that's so important for our kids today, and and I've seen this with my own kids. You get them out in the woods, or out away from pavement and cell phones and everything, and they, creativity takes over, and you find your own method of play, and it's amazing what kids will observe. That we have so many distractions in the developed areas, and what they can finally, once they get out of that mode and they can see nature, and one of the, just a quick note about my daughter, she was an art student at DKU and pursued a master's degree in art, but now she's in graphic design, and something that makes more money, I think. But anyway, she's still an artist at heart, and she enjoys so much doing sketches of bugs and all sorts of, even just, she had an installation in her college years of just greenery.
Oh, that's great.
And the different, and pencil sketches. And anyway, she just loves drawing nature. And
that's wonderful.
And I'll have to encourage her to take a trip to Bernheim. But of course, nature's all around us. You just have to notice it.
I think you're right. When we slow down and we pay attention, it's fascinating, isn't it? And those are the connections we want to make. We want to connect people to nature. We want to connect kids to nature, because we really want to educate and foster the next round of ecological stewards. Nature's vulnerable, and we as humans, we want to take care of it. So
absolutely, and I think that we in the city, you love your well manicured yards and your bug free gardens, but there's a price to pay for that, and nature pays that price many times with Roundup and herbicides and pesticides.
Sure.
And
sure.
And so many times, you go to a supply store and you buy this stuff and apply it. You never think about the repercussions of what because it's going to run off.
Yes.
It's going to affect our water, our streams, their animal life in the streams.
Yes.
Yes. But we don't. We just want that nice green lawn. And I'm not down on anybody who likes that. But there are alternative ways of getting the lawn you want without being so heavy on chemicals.
I just heard the term yarden, which is the technique that annoys your neighbors when you let everything grow up. I mean, there's
No, it's not letting everything grow up. I think our director of horticulture would take offense to that.
Okay.
It's planting native plants
Yes.
in an area rather than planting a big field of grass. So incorporating native plants into an area which attracts, it's better for the groundwater and better for the environment, and it attracts, the beneficial wildlife that you want to see in your yard. So
Do you have butterfly gardens?
We have an area in front of the visitor center, which we call the rain garden, which we have planted with a lot of milkweed and blazing star and some black-eyed Susans, and those attract a lot of butterflies in the summer. We had a ton out there in July.
I've just read about the fact that there seem to be a lot less butterflies
Yes,
in our life.
it's been documented. The monarch butterfly is kind of threatened now. So it is up for review from, I think, the U.S. Wildlife. I'm not sure the exact organization, but it's up that it might be listed on as threatened. So there are less butterflies. So
Insects in general are having a hard time.
They are.
Which sounds like it could be a good thing, but
But
they're
no.
a food source for so many animals that
Right.
we want
Yeah.
and love. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, my daughter's even talked about she'd like to get into keeping bees.
Oh, yes.
Because they're a resource that so often falls victim to herbicides and pesticides and things.
Absolutely.
All right, we need to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll be back with our guest from Bernheim Forest and talking more. And I'd like to hear more about the golden eagle who winters in Bernheim. It sounds real neat. All right, you're listening to Bradford and Brooks, and Margie and I will be back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. All right, you're back with Bradford and Brooks, Jim Brooks and Margie Bradford with you this morning, and we'll be here till the top of the hour. And then stay tuned to WBRT for the best in state and local news. Our special guest for this edition of Bradford and Brooks, we have Zach and Lynette from Bernheim Forest. And I'll tell you, after I reviewed the website, it's just amazing how many. Bernheim's a very busy place. We buzz past it. Maybe sometimes twice, some of us twice a day, and during our commute, and may never think much about Bernheim, but it's a happening place. Lots going on for people of all ages too. It's not just for kids. It's for the entire community, and it really is a jewel in our backyard that. And shame on all of us for not taking greater advantage of it from time to time, especially the education components, because it's you guys have been educational to Margie and myself, and it's we just learned a lot. And Lynette, you were talking about that Bernheim has a golden eagle that spends her winter at Bernheim. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Athena is a female golden eagle that we have tracked at Bernheim since 2019. We have a partnership with Parks Canada to track her and a couple of other birding organizations. And she spends her summers in Manitoba, Canada. And then in October, she started her 1,700-mile journey back to Bernheim for her winter home. And she arrived in early December, and we expect that she'll be in the forest until about mid-March.
That's fascinating. I have a background in electronics and a ham radio operator, so the technology tracking animals is so interesting, and especially to know that we have a visitor from Manitoba who winters here.
Yeah, our natural areas team, our conservation team, is working on this big research project with about golden eagles to track the movements of Athena and a couple of other eagles to learn about their migration and to see how we can better learn to protect them better.
So how were you able to track?
Back in 2019, they were lucky enough to be able to tag her. And then we have Modus towers installed. One is on the fire tower at Bernheim, and there's Modus towers going through the flight pattern that she'll take. So she'll fly by a tower and kind of check in. And that's how we can track the migration pattern.
Yeah, it's really neat, and this is just a question because I don't know what brings her back to winter at Bernheim every year. I mean, at least since 2019, she's been there.
I think she must like the forest and how it's so vast and remote. They need golden eagles do nest in eastern golden eagles will nest in forest in the trees, and they nest in the trees in the summer too.
Right.
Whereas the western golden eagle are more cliff dwellers, so she likes the vast open space. We did tag a juvenile male last year, and he was named Hermes by popular vote, but he has not returned for the winter. So we think Athena really finds this to be her home. And we're glad that she's back every year.
Well, it's just interesting that she can find her way back every year to Bernheim.
Absolutely.
Without GPS, and does she return to the same nest? Do you know?
I don't know. We'd have to check with our director of conservation on that. I'm not sure.
Of course, that may depend on how the weather has been over the summer.
Absolutely.
With potential tree damage and whatever. And there must be sufficient game and food sources for
Yes,
for her as
I
well.
think so. Golden eagles will eat carrion. They'll also eat rabbits and other mid-sized mammals. Sometimes they'll eat birds like grouse. So when we had the snow and we were closed, we did notice that she ventured a little further into Bernheim than she would normally. So I don't know. We don't know if that was because there was no crowds or she was just searching out the food because of the snow.
Right. Interesting.
Well, does she lay eggs there? I mean, does she do nesting there?
She's not nested at Bernheim. I think they're more nested in the summers. So if she were to fledge any chicks, that would be up in Canada.
I see, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, because of the weather.
Right.
All right.
Well, talk to us about, I know you've got a bunch of different programs going on.
We have all kinds of programs, including spring break camp for kids, summer camps for kids and teens and adults. There's an adult day camp for summer camp. We also have night programs at Bernheim, which are truly amazing. You get to come out to Bernheim and see Bernheim at night, which most people don't get to do. So we'll have a naturalist who come out and he'll bring a telescope. And you can look at the stars. Some of the programs just involve walking and listening, like we'll have a Bats at Bernheim program coming up in May.
Bats.
Okay. And so that's kind of education on bats, and you get to go out and walk along the lake and look for bats and talk and learn more about them and why they're important to our ecosystem.
So you have a spring break camp.
Yes. Spring break camp is coming up.
March 30th through April the 4th. So what does that involve?
Well, parents can choose to sign their kids up for the whole week, or they can choose to just do individual days. And when the kids are coming out, they might do some bird watching. They'll do some arts and crafts. They'll do hiking and more activities to learn about nature.
Okay.
And experience it.
So summer day camp, which is for kindergarten through 6th grade.
Yes, summer day camps are coming up. We run 1-week sessions from June to August 1st, and the registration for that will begin at the end of February. And those fill up pretty fast.
And teen summer camp.
Yes, Teen Summer Camp is a 2-day program
Okay.
where teens can come out, and they'll do some kayaking and some creek wading. They'll also do nature crafts and outdoor investigation to learn more about nature too.
And finally, adult 1-day camps.
Yes, this is something we started last year because why should the kids have all the fun?
Right, so this is June, July, and August, 3 months, so they are
We have
essentially the summer months.
Yes, during the summer months. So we have 1 day a month. Well, actually, we have 1 date in June and 2 days in July. It's for a day camp for adults only, where adults can come out and they can do kayaking with our naturalist and learn about, different waterfowl on the waters.
Neat.
And do some outdoor exploration. And they get to do arts and crafts too.
Oh, good, good.
Are these adult day camps on the same day of the week? Or
That's a good question.
I'm just curious, because my wife enjoys kayaking and doesn't have an opportunity to do it much, but she would love to have that opportunity.
For our member camp-ins, this past one that we did in the fall, we had a kayak session attached to that as well. So you could come and kayak. So there are a couple of times a year when you can come out to Bernheim.
So you have ponds that are big enough to show people how to do it?
Yeah, we have our 32-acre lake is called Lake Nevin, and that's where we do the kayaking for the summer
I
programs.
didn't realize that was that big.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and also for individual days.
Ah.
But normally you can't come out to kayak at Bernheim. You can
right.
only come during a special event.
Right.
That big lake is also where the beavers are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lake Nevin.
That's one of the things my wife enjoys about kayaking is, wherever she's at, being able to get out on the water and just the amazing, the critters and the foliage and, especially she likes the fall. You can, but anyway. Yeah,
Absolutely, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy kayaking too.
Let's see.
Well,
question.
I noticed you have this Buffalo Creek tract that was recently purchased
Yes.
to add to Bernheim.
Yes. One of the major goals that we have in Bernheim is protecting and conserving land. And this past year, we purchased 182 acres. We're calling it the Buffalo Creek Tract, and part of that land protects the headwaters that lead into Simpson Lake.
Ah, okay. Well, that's important for the citizens of Bardstown.
Yeah, we want to protect.
Simpson Lake is certainly important to us, and protecting that would be great, would be wonderful.
I saw that you guys have full moon hikes.
We do. Those are a lot of fun.
Just a minute. Now, personally, one of my favorite times of the lunar cycle is the full moon. We have a dog, and I take him out. I love to take him out on the full moon outside, because it's the landscape, just the moonlight on full moon just makes a absolutely gorgeous landscape. And I could I just can imagine being at Bernheim in the dark under the moonlight, just how beautiful that would be.
Yes. Yes, we generally have a full moon hike every month with the full moon, and during those we'll take a hike to talk about the moon and to listen to the sounds at Bernheim. There's nothing quite like Bernheim at night, especially in the summertime when we get the fireflies. It's truly mesmerizing, and it's a great experience.
I guess I'm kind of a night creature, because I love being outside during the summer and sometimes during the winter, and I can hear the bullfrogs down at my neighbor's pond, and during sometimes a year you can hear the wolves yipping, crying, or coyotes. I mean, but anyway, you also have a Coco and Cosmos. program. That sounds really interesting because of all the legends and lore about, and that would be a really good program, I think, for anybody who's.
Yes, our next one is coming up this Friday, actually. It's Coco and the Cosmos Lunar Legends. So we recognize it's kind of a chilly time right now outside. So part of this program is indoors, where our naturalist will talk about what's going on outside. Like this one's Lunar Legends. You'll hear about a legend. And then the next part and you'll have some cocoa. And then you'll go out and take a look at things outside in the sky.
All right. Well, like I said, there's no shortage of activities. This is just curious. How many people on staff with all these activities at Bernheim?
As a staff total, I think we're around 70.
Okay. Wow.
The education team has, I think, between 4 and 5 people, and then we have a whole crew of volunteer naturalists who come out and support those programs. And they truly love what they do.
Oh, I can imagine.
They are knowledgeable about so many topics.
Oh, there are great volunteer opportunities at Bernheim too. If you
is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
if you all want to
absolutely.
come do, any number of projects. There's work projects, but then there's also the naturalist program where naturalists get trained in a specialty that they kind of self-select something they're interested in, beavers or bees, let's say, because we have hives out there too, and they're beekeepers. But you can be a naturalist and be an ambassador for any of the events that happen at Bernheim. It's a great volunteer program.
How many people visit Bernheim Forest in a day, a week, a year? What?
On an annual basis, we have about 300,000 visitors.
Wow.
Yes, it's an astounding number. Right now, there's not as many people out at Bernheim, so it's a great time to visit. But Bernheim's such a vast place that even on a busy day, you can go out and head out to the forest and lose yourself. But don't get lost.
But we'll find you.
Yeah.
Have you had people to get lost?
Oh, yes. We have had people get lost, especially if they come out and are trying to tackle our 15-mile Millennium Trail. Our rangers have had to go out and retrieve some people sometimes. Maybe they overestimated how far they could walk, or maybe they got lost on the trail. But we have rangers on staff, and they are always happy to assist. They are really good guys.
I think it's worth mentioning too that we're always trying to be more and more accessible to people too, not just people who want to tackle a long trail, but we have a list of trails that are rather accessible, more and more, and we have features like the Canopy Tree Walk that are wheelchair accessible. We're building a wheelchair accessible tree house on the playground right now, with accessible tracks up to it and around the playground, so we're building in accessibility features all the time.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah,
that's critically important for those who are less mobile.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And that really offers equal opportunity for play and learning.
Yes, and
for everyone, regardless.
We want Bernheim to be a welcoming place for all.
Tell us a little bit about becoming a member of Bernheim.
Sure. We have
go ahead.
we have annual memberships to Bernheim. We have household memberships. We also have the senior membership, which is a little bit cheaper, and then we have a military membership. Each membership it's like for your family. So if you were to join, your wife could be the other adult on the household, and then if you had kids that were living at home, they'd be members too.
So this would give you the opportunity to come to Bernheim anytime you wanted to, pay a yearly fee and come anytime.
Absolutely, and your donation is also supporting our conservation efforts and all that we do.
And how much would that be?
I think the household membership is $75 a year. The senior and military are $50 a year.
Okay.
And we do have, at the end of the year, sometimes we'll have a holiday special. So I just purchased a membership for my aunt and one for my in-laws.
I don't know. Of course, years ago, before you established a membership fee, I guess Bernheim was pretty much dependent on, its own donations or the foundation to, investments and things like that to keep things funded.
Yeah, we are still funded primarily by donations. The majority of the operations are funded by the donations that we receive and through memberships. Bernheim doesn't receive any money from state or federal.
Really?
We're a
Okay.
private, nonprofit organization.
Now, if a person just comes out, say, brings their children for a day at Bernheim, what is that?
There's no real entry fee. It's just a suggested donation of
Okay.
$15 per car.
Okay.
And it's just a suggested donation.
Right, okay.
So,
Now, just curious, is there a resource to, I haven't done any research for years on Isaac Bernheim, but to learn more about the man and his mission, is there a place you can either go, or is there information at Bernheim more about him or the foundation and the work that you guys do? Because obviously he had a vision of what Bernheim should be.
yeah, he was truly a philanthropist who wanted Bernheim to be a place where people could come out and connect with nature and art and experience all of those things in a relaxing setting.
Well, what's impressive to me is that he was thinking about this roughly 100 years ago.
Oh, yes. Yes, he bought the property in 1928 and established the foundation in 1929, which opened the doors to Bernheim.
But, of course, we think back 100 years, we think, well, just Margie, think about how even our local community has changed
Oh, yeah.
in 50 years.
Absolutely.
But he was very, had a vision for the importance of protecting,
Yes.
I don't.
Wonders of nature.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And that speaks legions to me for
Yeah.
because he was a man of means, obviously,
Yes.
and just that's what a wonderful way to have your legacy, and to benefit generations of people from your generosity and your vision.
Absolutely. It's truly to be admired.
All right. Well, we've got down to about the last 4 minutes. Is there any program or something, anything, information you'd like to share with our listeners before we get off the air this morning?
Sure. If you're interested in coming out to Bernheim or learning more about the programs, just visit our website, bernheim.org. We have an events calendar on there for all the upcoming events that we have coming, including Restore, our Earth Day celebration in April. But our website is the best way to find that information.
For families too, if they've never been to Bernheim, we have some great events coming up. We've got free play days out on the playground. There's 2 in March, 2 in April, 2 in May, so it's a great spring series and a good way to try out Bernheim if you've never been before. Come play with
And that
us.
would be on the website also.
That is,
Yes.
that's right.
And I want to just express my thanks that you, in your website address, you didn't make people like me try to spell arboretum. I could never spell that. So thankfully, Bernheim takes you right there.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bernheim's been such a, I don't know, looking back over, from my earliest time, Bernheim's always been a special place.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like that it will remain a special place for conservation and for preservation and education of nature,
Yes, indeed.
and save it for generations to come.
And just a fun place to go with your kids. I mean, that's what I remember.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, living in town, the connection with nature that I had as a kid was, well, we used to call it St. Joe Woods. It's where St. Joe Cave is, and of course almost all of it's been now developed, but it was a little more, when it was undeveloped, it was just pretty much a creek through a hollow, that was part drainage. But But that was my first exposure, I guess, to appreciating nature, and not appreciating the trash that washed down the creek. And it was like, we have trash cans. Why was this Mountain Dew can on the side of the creek down here? So my first brush with thinking environment, and I know a group from when I was in elementary school. We actually did a little field trip over there, and we pick up some of the garbage that made its way down there.
That's great. If we all do a little something, it makes a big difference.
Do you have a problem with that at Bernheim? Do you have people who abuse the privilege of being there and leave?
With litter, no. I mean, litter happens because we're messy, and because I have a lot of kids on my playground, so I have a lot of snack wrappers. But that's the worst of it, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming in,
Yes,
Zach
thank
and
you.
Lynette. It's been wonderful to we all know Bernheim is there, but we never don't often stop to think about all the opportunities there for education and just recreation and just reconnecting with nature. We're so so involved in concrete and steel and brick and mortar, and it's just. It does something to your soul to just reconnect with nature and get away from it, and to see Kentucky as it was, 1500.
Well, if you can get kids off their cell phones like that.
We can do that, and we want people to feel welcome and feel like that it belongs to them too.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks again, guys, and that's it for Bradford and Brooks. Margie and I will be back next Wednesday. Until then, everybody have a great week.